Privilege. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Hightower,
Here.
Laura. Here. Mason. Here. Jackson. Chavez.
Here.
O'Connell.
Here.
Sosa.
Here. Any public participation, we know? Not for the facility committee. Okay, thank you. Any old business? On the new business? That's right.
It's a little.
Hello.
So we have a full agenda tonight. We have our teammates from Wool and Rock Pink, Wool and Gilbane, almost splash back to Rock Pink. To update us on the change orders, the project update, and we had a bid opening that will be on the agenda. So, Jeremy, you want to go first?
Sure. All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I do have a drone video for you this week. If Laura, did you want me to share that tonight?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a little longer. It is primarily interior, so I'll let Joe play that, and then I will. I'll get back up and give you the update. What's that?
Where do I see the G logo? No, 21st century. That's what we wanted. Awesome. That is great to see.
So that's I'll let our virtual development group know that you guys like this, and that's something we wanted to do at the end here. This will be a video we can turn over to you guys. You guys put it on your website. Do whatever you want with that video. So, and we have some more stuff to come with that, but just kind of a nice turnover piece. A lot of you got to see the building for the ribbon cutting, which was an outstanding event for everybody that was there. Very well attended. I think all of us sitting here were very proud to be a part of that event. So yeah, it's been good. So. All right.
No, I just wanted to say something as I reviewed that.
Sure.
It was amazing because I remember sitting here and seeing models and other schools that you built. And it felt really great to see that this is a part of our community. So, like, I haven't gotten emotional, but I almost lost it. You know, but it's great to see that that's on the side of that part.
Yeah.
So, wonderful.
Great job.
Thank you. All right, so since most of you got to see the building at the open house, I'll keep my update fairly short. I just want to update you on where we're going in the next couple of weeks here as you guys prepare to move in and take full occupancy. We are still working our way through our final inspections. So we've had a round of state plumbing inspections. We've had general building life safety inspection. There are some to-do items on all of those, and we're working through those as we go through the next couple of weeks. We still have kitchen inspection. We have final electrical inspection, final mechanical, fire alarm inspection, and most importantly, elevator inspection. So elevator is Thursday. We're trying to set up final fire alarm tests for Thursday as well to kind of piggyback off of that. So the elevator is probably the hardest one to schedule overall. So we do have that scheduled for Thursday at 11:30. That's been on the docket for a couple of weeks now. We're just waiting for availability. So I feel good about where we're at. We do have our work cut out for us still. We've still got guys going through the building doing punch lists. Overall, the punch list was not too bad. The Wold team has completed their punch list inspections for everything except for the kitchen equipment and the low voltage work, the data work. So don't expect too much out of that. But other than that, all the paint, the dings and doors, flooring items are all documented. We're working expeditiously to try and get through that as much of it as we can before the students are in there on January 4th. So that's really the big thing on the outside. The metal panels, as you saw, finished up for the front entrance for the grand opening. And we're making very good progress on the west side. Both car rider entrances are nearing completion. We've probably got another couple of days on those, and they'll be done as well. And then we'll move up to the roof and finish the penthouses, the stuff that's off the ground, not quite as visible. There's a fair amount of work, probably a month's worth of work to do up there yet. So we have a plan in place to access that work without being disruptive to school. There'll be no access through the school to complete that work. So keep plugging away as long as weather allows. Obviously, with these really cold days coming up, work on the outside is going to be pretty tough. So in the snow, but we'll get through it and get it done. So.
Where would you say your percentage on this completion?
99.
99.
Yeah.
As far as impact of any other change orders to contingency.
So I said MacArthur's pretty minimal at this point. I mean, we're moving, through the punch list. There's a couple little things that are coming up here and there as we're, kind of doing the final touches with the security contractor and the audiovisual contractor, some odds and ends here and there, but nothing major. I think
impacts projected.
What's that?
No major impacts projected.
No.
We're pretty steady where we're at now.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have, and I can talk about this a little bit. We do have one change order that's going to come to you next month based on the state plumbing inspection. So there were several sinks in classrooms where we didn't have thermostatic mixing valves, which would allow the temperature of the water to go over 120 degrees based on how he wanted the water temperature set at the water heater. So we are in the process of adding those. Actually, I think they completed those today. And then also RPZ valves, and I can't remember exactly what RPZ stands for, but basically prevents chemicals that are hooked to things like your dish machine, your mop sinks from circulating back into the water system within the building. So Now that we understand what chemicals are being used in the kitchen, hooked to the dishwasher, the triple compartment sinks, the mop sinks and janitor's closets, we're going back and putting those devices in place as well to get past the state plumbing inspection. So we're working on that right now. So we're tracking that all T&M, trying to make it as feasible as we can. Those devices are pretty expensive. So I'm thinking that's probably about a $20,000 hit, but that's the biggest one that I can see right now. In addition to yeah. So it's, I mean, sizable, more than we want to talk about, right? But has to be, it'll be set up right.
Then we'll have exterior work in springtime. Any in terms of landscape or pretty much?
Landscaping's pretty much done. I mean, we'll be moving into the demolition phase on the old building. So abatement's scheduled to start right around January 18th.
Okay.
Projection on that is somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks. And then we'll go right into demolition starting in mid-February, let's say. We'll start tearing the building down and then build the parking lot and get all the landscaping finished up by end of June. So come next school year, it'll be full, the whole site will be done. We'll be out of here. So.
Then the playground will be installed after
Yes.
the demolition and when we're working on the green space right now.
Yep, correct. That'll all coincide.
Do the walkthrough on the stage. Is there any way we can look at that to see, put a safety on it? On the stage,
On the
main stage?
yeah. On the one side
Yeah.
where the stairs come down.
Maybe portable stairs, something like that, because you see the stairs.
Mhm.
That's how that's age discrimination.
Now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can look at that.
Our raise the flag here, right, it wasn't concerned. Okay.
We'll certainly take a
Look
look
at
at that. Any other questions on progress here? Where we're going?
No questions.
So I do have 4 change orders for you tonight. Related to Sunnyside Park before I turn the floor over to Ricardo for Riley Northlake. The first change order is based on PR 56. And as you might have noticed in the science classrooms and STEM classrooms, we have large cord reels that hang from the ceiling for outlets. The cords on those are about 20 feet long. And so one thing that was just overlooked on those is the cord reel themselves is over 6 feet away from a sink, so it does not require GFCI protection. However, if you stretch that cord out all the way out, you can get to a sink. So the electrical inspection or electrical code requires that to be a GFCI protected cord reel. So there are 50 some cord reels in the building. We have a plan and we have the parts in hand to change all of those to be GFCI protected so that they are in compliance with the electrical code and also safe if somebody did pull those all the way over to the sink. So here the cost is to change all those outlets GFCI protected, and the cost is $5,531. The second change order is change order 122, and it incorporates part 1 of PR 57. So I'm going to present this in 2 parts. We did this. We split this up because the pricing came in at different times, and to get ready for the opening, we needed to move quickly. So part 1 is the stage that you stood on for the ribbon cutting. You notice it had the same LVT, the luxury vinyl tile flooring that the rest of the cafeteria had. Initially, the bid specs had a more of a plywood floor, a masonite floor. That's typical on a stage where you may build sets and actually have performances it's a, what do I want to say? It's a layer that's meant to get damaged. You can nail through it, screw through it, right? And then you pull it off and replace it. So a lot of times on a performance stage, you see it painted black. As we got looking at that cafeteria space, that really wasn't the right application for a couple of reasons. A, it wasn't going to be as aesthetically pleasing as the luxury vinyl tile. But B, that is something that the principals look at as overflow space potentially for lunch. And so with the floor that's on it now, they can put tables and chairs up there if they need additional space. It's a very clean, easy to clean floor, durable floor, and nothing will soak into that. So we made the change to put the luxury vinyl tile on that in lieu of the wood. So there was a credit for the wood and the luxury vinyl tile wasn't had. So the total cost here is $12,143. The second part of that PR 57 then is for the metal fascia panels on the exterior of the building. So there's 2 canopies on the front of the building on the east side and 2 canopies on the west side. The fascia band is that band that's about 2.5 feet tall that you see on the front leading edge of that. Those were called out to be just a flat, like a thin metal sheet product. The concern there was that with the sun and the hot and cold, that metal is going to expand and contract, and it gets what we call oil can. It'll get all wavy looking, wrinkled. So this was actually something we had talked about way back when the scopes, the bids came in, and it just kind of fell off our radar, to be honest with you. And so as we went to go back around installing those, it came back up in discussion. We changed them to be metal panels to match what's on the building. So it is a rigid system that will not wrinkle and oil can in the sunlight. So we made that change. Those are about 50% installed right now. And the total cost there was $23,070. So that's a product that will hold up a lot longer. It is a very noticeable thing when you drive up to a building that has that problem. So we wanted to make sure it was done right. And the last one I have for you is change order 127, and this is regarding the porcelain tile. So as you walk throughout the building, you saw the gray 3-foot high wainscot tile used to protect the walls in most of the public spaces, corridors, learning common areas. There were some areas, particularly on the second floor, the balcony. The wall away from the balcony was coated 3 feet up with the wainscot tile. The wall looking down over the balcony did not have it on. And we felt it was best to protect that wall because people are going to go up to that edge, look over the edge, shoe marks, keys, whatever is going to scratch the wall. It's just continuous painting. So we felt it was best to add it there. And we also had a few other areas as we went through, kind of saw how it was all coming together that we needed to add tile for the longevity of the building. So we did that all in full swing. We had the tile and we were able to get it done. So the total add here is $13,158. That's a little over 2,000 square feet of tile we added on the walls in total. So any questions on those? That's everything for Sunnyside and MacArthur right now.
And the contingency bond is 75%.
Yes. Joe, can you flip to the Excel? That one, I think. That one. Just go to page. Can't remember if it's 3 or 4 in this report. There we go. Yeah, so we're at just a little over 75% left in the contingency. There's one estimated change order for Sunnyside and Park. It's 30,000 with what I have in there. This is something I've just kind of put on the back burner for right now because it's not something we have to address until phase 2. So we've just been cramming to get through and get this building finished first. But we will go back on that. We have a solid approach to how to go to that. This one could become a no cost altogether. But we do have an option that should be a lesser cost than the estimate there. And then there's one large estimated change order for Riley North Lake, which we're working through and actively working on to better the price. So, but overall, we're in really good shape. So
We really appreciate you controlling that fund.
Yep.
It's very important to the project. Thank you.
all right, yes.
I just wanted to thank, and specifically Monica. She has taken great time to walk through the buildings and the classrooms with myself and Dr. Myzanek, our Director of Teaching and Learning. With our teachers, she's taken care to walk, she did 3 professional development sessions with all of our Sunnyside teachers and walked through all of the reasons why all the choices of every furniture piece was selected, how the classroom was set up. She last week walked through with Kara and I, set up classrooms so that our teachers help lessen their anxiety, number one, but also to help them understand why the decisions were made and how it would benefit their instruction and the learning commons space. Today also, Maria Hendricks and the instructional coach from Riley came over and was present during some of those sessions. And then we also she put together a cheat sheet kind of about all the different kit parts and spaces for instructional use and different drawings for how the rooms could be set up to support learning. So I just wanted to thank her publicly for her time and dedication to that project. It made a huge difference for our staff. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions? Sure.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I was about to say afternoon. So we'll start off with the video for Riley North Lake here. So starting off with the outside, glass and glazing, it's a good spot for Joe right there. So all those storefront openings, all those openings have been covered up with glass now. Basically everywhere north of the two large openings in the multi-purpose space have all been covered with glass. We're actually heating that entire space right now. That has allowed us to do drywall, which we'll talk about here a little bit further, or in a bit here. But basically, if you go over to about 110, Joe, please. Those large, actually a little before that, just a couple seconds. Those large openings we're about to pull up there. This video was taken on Thursday. As of right now, the framing for all these large openings are just about. We're missing a few parts here, but very shortly we should start being able to be sealants on there and then go ahead and start glazing this all up. And hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we can basically essentially close up the entire building, protect us from the elements here, protect everything inside there. So that's our next large milestone in calculating this entire building and making sure that we're weather tight here. So but for the most part, in terms of weather tight, the roof is basically just about complete. There are some few details, metal coping that will need to be installed. So within the next couple of weeks, we should start seeing coping going on in all these areas that have brick here. So in addition to that, not necessarily with building enclosure, but just finishing up the building. We have metal panels that actually arrived on Friday of last week, and they started installation today, actually. So we have a couple metal panels already installed. We'll continue to go through that along the entire building here. So metal panels are underway. So moving on to the interior, as I mentioned, the entire north of that multi-purpose area, just along that corridor, everything north of that is fully enclosed. That has allowed us to begin all of our drywall. Specifically, we started in the admin area over at Riley. So drywall in the admin area and the cafeteria is well underway. The admin area is basically all drywalled in. Everything is good to go. All the finishing should be complete probably by end of day tomorrow. Cafeteria is just about there. Believe maybe end of day tomorrow, we should be able to start putting the mud on the walls there. So great progress being made there. Throughout the rest of the addition, framing is about 95% complete. So all these walls already in place to really start to get a feel for the space here. With that, all these walls being in place, all of the mechanical and plumbing, roughing, those two trades are basically complete, inspected, essentially ready to go throughout the majority of the addition. Electrical is a little bit behind that, so we are still working through all the electrical roughing. We'll continue to progress along with that probably for the next 2 weeks or so. Let's see what else we have out here. Within the kitchen of the addition, we have just actually installed the kitchen hoods above the kitchen line and the dishwasher. So that was actually just done on Friday. For next month, I'll make sure that I have a picture on there for you all as well. Take a look at that. We are also installing door frames as we drywall, so trying to make sure that we're keeping all of our door frames a little bit ahead of where we're going to be drywalling. So that allows all that to continue smoothly. Within the gymnasium, with the heat being in place, we have also began painting. So we'll continue with, we'll start at the gym, finish the gym out, and then move on to the admin areas, and then we'll follow south from there. Following drywall finishing. So I believe that's everything that I have on the progress of the addition. Any questions?
Are we on target or are we behind? No.
So as of right now, we are still targeting for the interior spaces of the addition end of March, and then we'll finish out everything in spring for the pavements and all certificate of occupancy.
No delays in supplies, right?
As of right now, no.
So another open house, we're thinking sometime in August. I'm looking forward. We was.
Don't give them a All right,
So no question.
No questions.
so I only have 4 change orders. Why not? On our page there. So the first change order that I have here is district change order 125 is in it relates to old issue PR 36. This is a not to exceed number. We have some framing drywall that was added over in the serving area at the addition. That is the largest chunk of this change order. This change order is currently sitting at $26,064. In addition to that, we have some relocation of electrical, modification to the coiling doors, and there were some added fire extinguisher cabinets that needed to go in. So as of right now, we feel that the framing drywall number is a little bit higher, so that's why we have this here that not to exceed. We are working with our carpenter to see what we can do to bring that number down. So as of right now, again, $26,064 here. Next item that we have on here is district change order 126. The largest chunk of this is about $7,000. All in all, this number came out at $10,898. That $7,000 that I was previously mentioning is in regards to steel, some supplemental steel that we needed for brick supports, as well as angle to closing a small section of roof. So that is the largest chunk out of this. There was also a little bit from our plumber to relocate some existing storm lines. That were just in conflict with some of the new soffits that were constructed, so. There. Next, we have District Change Order 127. This is a not to exceed. Within the construction of the addition, we created a loading dock right up against the North Lake, north wall of North Lake. We created a loading dock there, exposed that entire face. When we did that, all of that foundation wall was covered in waterproofing since it was all buried beforehand. So with that, you're getting a brand new loading dock, a brand new addition. So we figured it would be a worthwhile expense to one, protect the foundation a little bit more and provide a little bit more of an aesthetically pleasing look here. So we worked with Wold to plan a thin brick system that would be directly adhered onto that foundation wall. With that, again, not to exceed, we're working with our mason. He was just out there late last week to get some final numbers. So we're hoping to bring down this number, which is currently listed at $27,990. And lastly, we have another not to exceed number. This is at Riley. There currently is a gas line that is in conflict with new electrical panels. So we are essentially providing 4 pipe fitters for 1 day, plus the material to relocate that existing gas line to allow for these electrical panels to go in. One as designed, and basically that Riley boiler room is jam-packed, so it's really the only place that can go. So as of right now, the not to exceed number for this is $10,000. So I have any questions?
Questions? Well, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
And we have, Jesselyn, we have the bid award recommendations. This is for the renovation work and health life safety upgrades at Jefferson Primary and Whittier Primary Schools.
Yeah, so I'll keep my update short and sweet. We had a bid opening on December 6th for the media center renovations and the health life safety renovations at Jefferson and Whittier School. We had a really good bid day. We ended up having 3 bidders come out, so it gave us a really good picture of what the bid market looks like. And we had competitive bid numbers come in at $1,497,000, which was under budget. So really, really great news for both of those schools. And it allows for everything that we had planned for. So this is the remainder of just the architectural work for the mechanical work that was implemented, and that's really just 2 concrete pads is all that was left there. And then the renovations at the media center that will accompany the furniture that was already purchased. So happy to answer any questions, but really excited about the bid day. So
we had budgeted 1.9 for the construction. They came in
Furniture on site yet? Just.
No, so that is ordered based on, I think it was ordered in the last month's board, or it was approved in last month's board agenda, so it'll be on site in the summer.
So.
Yeah.
Distribution. Extra funds. Yes. We'll be having work happening at Jefferson and Whittier and Northlake and Riley and Sunnyside and Carver this summer. But we're still gonna find a way to do summer school. Be busy summer. Nope. Furniture was talking about.
Right. So are there any questions about the bid award?
Any questions? No.
Right. So the board, we will ask you to award that bid at the regular meeting.
Thanks.
But you're gonna stay for, right?
You can be all set.
Guess we can always count.
If there are no other questions, then that would be the conclusion of the facilities committee meeting.
We have no questions from anyone from the board. You guys have done a really good job, so thank you, we really appreciate it. So, we have no questions, got a motion to Ms. Mason and Ms. O'Connor. Roll call, please.
Laura? Mason? Jackson? Chavez?
Aye.
O'Connell? Sosa? Hightower?
Aye. Once again, you guys can stay if you like. So we'll go right into our regular board meeting. Oh. Okay. Well, happy holidays.
Yes.
Happy holidays.
Let me know if you need this again.
Okay, we'll go right into our regular board meeting. Roll call, please.
Mason?
Here.
Jackson? Chavez?
Here.
O'Connell? Here. Sosa?
Yeah.
Hightower?
Here.
Mora? Here.
Okay, public hearing.
Okay, we have a public hearing on the 2022 tax levy, primarily for background, the 2022 levy is calculated based on the 2021 equalized assessed valuation, which the 21 dropped to $528 million of EAV. It is also calculated on anticipated new property growth of about $1 million. And using the December 2021 CPI of 7%, which the tax caps that at 5%. There's an increase, we estimate an increase of 3% based on the North Triad triennial reassessment. We have not received any indications from Cook County Assessor's Office like we did 2 years ago about the reassessment. So there are a lot of unknowns. We did ask for an overall increase of 6.31%, which is higher than the 5% prescribed by law. Doing this preserves the financial operations in case estimated amounts of the levy are different than those used in estimation. So we won't know what the county is going to use for their EAV because the assessor does not have that information to us yet for the 2022 EAV. We don't know what the actual new property will be. So all of these unknowns, and because CPI was so high, it's kept at 5%. Wanted to make sure that we do not leave any funds that would support the academics of the district or support the district in all of the different funds that we levy for. So does the board have any questions on?
You mentioned $1 million increase, is that a EAV or revenue?
So that would be new growth. So if there was a property that like new construction or something that, you know, was a vacant lot, they build on it and it's the first time hitting the tax rolls. We don't have any TIFs. Normally you get new property, when the TIF comes back on the tax rolls, that's considered new property. But we're not aware of anything, but we're using an estimate. We don't really have the ability to get that information from the county. I do reach out to the municipalities to find out if there is any new construction within our boundaries.
So the $1 million you're protecting is revenue based on,
No, it's EAV.
the $1 million is EAV.
Yeah,
Okay.
equalized assessed value.
Right.
It's not the revenue. It's not a
Okay.
revenue source. It's the
Right.
EAV. which
Sorry,
is
that's
used in
what
county.
taxes
Yeah.
would be less. The revenue portion.
Right, the equalized assessed value is what the calculations
No, I get it.
are based on.
Okay. I wasn't clear if you were saying million revenue or million on the EAP,
Oh, I'm sorry,
so,
sorry, I was
okay,
not clear with that.
no, it's fine. All right. No, it's.
Any other questions?
Questions?
Then we can close the hearing.
Okay, get a motion to close the hearing. So O'Connell and Mr. Jackson. Roll call, please.
Mason.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell. Sosa. Hightower.
Aye.
Mora.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and the next agenda item is to award the bid for the Jefferson Whittier renovations and health life safety upgrades project. The suggested motion is that the Board of Education accept the Jefferson Whittier Primary Schools renovations and health life safety upgrades project bid from Bowler Construction Company for their base bid in the amount of $1,497,000 as presented.
Get a motion. Ms. O'Connell, Mrs. Shabazz. Roll call, please.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell. Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora.
Aye.
Mason. Motion carried.
And then tonight we have Joe Lightcap with us from Baker Tilly to provide an update and presentation on the audit of June 30, 2022.
Welcome, Joe. And
Welcome.
I know you're gonna bring us great news.
I hope so. I hope so. Well, thank you for having me tonight. I'll be going briefly over the results of the financial audit and a couple of the deliverables. Of course, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to stop me at any point. If there's anything that I don't go over that you have a question on or anything that I do present. First off, I'd like to thank Laura and her team. It's definitely good to see Irene back there. I haven't seen her in a couple of years, so it was good to catch up before the meeting. We ask a lot of questions. We ask for a lot of information, and the business office, we have a good relationship, a great relationship, and the information, flows back and forth, and it allows us to complete the audit in a timely manner. So I'd like to thank them publicly before I get started.
Thanks, Joe.
On the next slide, a little bit about just my agenda for tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about the engagement team, the deliverables. We'll go in a little bit information on the audited financial statements and the reporting and insights letter. And it says open discussion at the bottom, but as I said, feel free to stop me at any time. The engagement team on the next page, I think this is really important. Oh, it didn't show up well. I'll have to work on the coloration, I guess. See, this is important for your engagement team, for you to know contact information. It has my email, it has my phone number. It also the senior manager, Anna, who I believe you met before as well as our senior accountant, Brooke, who performed the majority of the detail testing this year. We ultimately work for the board. If you ever have any questions, any concerns, anything you'd like to point out at any point during the year, not just the couple of times I see you every year, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk through anything you would like to. So the fiscal year 22 audit procedures were completed and our reports were issued on December 12th. A little bit about the deliverables, the annual comprehensive financial report, the annual financial report to ISB, the reporting and insights letter. There's agreed upon procedures for your self-insurance, and report on federal awards, also called the single audit, and the consolidated year-end financial report, which is still in process, but we got a little bit of time to complete that. We'll be working expeditiously to get that completed as well. Everything was turned in on the appropriate deadlines. As for the single audit, I won't really be going over it, except that there were no findings this year. The major programs were ESSER and Title I, so there's no findings. That's good on that report. The non-audited services, I think the slide before, it doesn't really show up well either. But along with performing the audit, we also help the district through a variety of services related to the preparation of the financial statements, helping out with some adjusting and conversion journal entries to create the financial statements. We help prepare the financial report to ISB, as well as the schedule of expenditures, federal awards, and the related data collection form. This is important to note that while we help the district with those reports and those services. The board and management ultimately takes responsibility and approves those reports and has we work hand in hand to make sure that that information is from management's perspective. I'll go into the audited financial statements. You can move to the next slide. A little bit about the financial highlights. We once again issued a clean or unmodified opinion on the district's financial information. It's the highest level of assurance you can get from your outside auditors and states that the information within is reasonable in all material respects and can be reasonably relied upon by an outside user of the financial statements. As I mentioned, the district does issue an annual comprehensive financial report. This is a more extensive report than is required under accounting standards. It provides the reader with some good information in the transmittal letter, a little history about the district and some of the policies. It also includes statistical information in the back, so you can see 10-year trend information, how the district's finances have gone over the last 10 years. So you can see where the bond issuances go and the net position related to that. And it just gives a good historical perspective of what the district has been in the story. I always like to point out on page 5, management's discussion and analysis. This is really the story behind the numbers. This is management's perspective on the financial results with a comparison to the prior year. So you get a little bit of information about this year and last year and really what happened. Pages 17 and 18, this is the one place that you'll see on an annual basis with all of the funds of the district in one column and all of the activities, capital assets, long-term debt, all of those activities in one place. And for the year ended June 30, 2022, net position increased by about $13.2 million. A large part of that is the spending of resources on capital assets. So when you spend your resources on capital assets, that makes your net position go up. If you spend on debt, like you did this year as well, that helps your net position go up. So we'll see a short-term perspective in a little bit, but this is really your long-term perspective. So when you're spending your resources on those things that really help out these long-term assets and reduce long-term debt, that'll help your net position grow. On the following slide, I'm not sure how well it's going to show up if you can see it, but I'll read off some of the numbers. Overall, so this is a short-term perspective of revenues and expenditures. So when I talked about before with capital assets and long-term debt, this only has how you spent on capital assets and long-term debt. So you can see, well, if you can see that in the capital projects fund, the fund balance decreased by about $37 million. This is because the district spent down prior year bond proceeds on all the construction projects you did this year. So that was the primary driver of overall fund balance decreasing by about $29.9 million. The other funds, the operating funds, mainly what's on the left page, general fund, operations, maintenance, transportation, and IMRF, those funds increased by about $8.3 million and have about 11.77 months expenditures in fund balances. So this is June 30th is one of the high points of the year. We use those fund balances over the next, well, usually it's over 3-4 months, but depending on what the county likes to do with the property taxes, it could be even longer. And having those fund balances and reserves to kind of stave off the delays in property taxes is helpful to the district.
As we're seeing here, 54 million added capital projects that'll kind of be spending. Next year, we're paying on the numbers.
So we'll spend the capital projects, the bulk in 23, because they'll continue on the addition. Summer of 23, they will do work on the remaining renovations at Riley and Northlake. We'll be doing work over the summer at Jefferson and Whittier. We'll continue to work here. And so a lot of that will be spent through the end of this year and then through in the beginning of the FY24 year. So I would imagine through the fall, we would see expenditures related to construction.
This year, 24, 25, we should see your fund balance closer to
24 would drop down. We should be complete with projects in 24. So we should get back at 24, 25, you would have more of a normal expenditures across the funds where we're not gonna have big projects going on.
Okay, so that fund balance pre. You know,
Pre-
rough around the
construction.
things. Okay,
And on the revenue side, so on the far right columns, you can see it is the 2021 balances. You have a comparison in total from this year to last year. Revenues increased by about $10 million. Just kind of wanted to point that out. There's a large portion of corporate personal property replacement taxes that went up statewide. That went up about $1.5 million. And then property taxes went up mainly due to the debt service fund. With the new bonds came an increased levy for debt service to pay off those bonds. And also some timing issues of when, based on how the county distributes property taxes and how they base the collections, the first installment and second installment. It's a little kind of misleading. It was a little lower last year, a little higher this year. But it'll average out to the middle there somewhere going forward. On the next slide, that financial information is put into the state's annual financial report, and they calculate their their profile score, the financial profile score. The district is once again at a 3.7 as you were last year. You had been at a 4.0 in the past before the bond issuance. So I would assume as you pay down your long-term debt, everything else being equal, you'll get back up to that higher score. But it makes sense based on their calculations and what they how they develop the calculations that you would dip a little bit. But you're still in recognition status, which is the highest status you can have. I'm going to go now. I'm going to transition a little bit to the reporting and insights letter. This is our non-financial highlights related to the audit on the following slide. I guess you can move to slides. The reporting and insights letter. This satisfies a few different auditing standards. So our required reporting and communication to management and the board. The first thing of note is the auditor's responsibilities on the next slide. So the objective of the financial statements audit is to express an opinion on the financial statements, and we look at internal control to help prepare that opinion, not necessarily to provide an opinion on internal control, but to help us develop our audit procedures to express that opinion. A little bit about management's responsibilities on the next slide. It's to prepare and fairly present the financial statements, establish and maintain effective internal controls over financial reporting in compliance with laws and regulations, compliance with the types of requirements required by OMB, the compliance supplement that's related to the single audit, the audit of the federal awards, and to provide us with written representations at the conclusion of the audit. And those representations are included in that reporting and insights letter for you to see. It pretty much really states that the district gave us everything that we asked for. Some of the qualitative aspects of accounting practices on the next slide. This is kind of a laundry list of things we're required to communicate. I'll kind of talk about more interesting ones. For accounting policies, the district adopted GASB 87 for the accounting of leases. This really didn't have an impact on the financial statements, just kind of a reclassification of how the liabilities were presented. The estimates were reasonable. The financial statement disclosures were neutral, consistent, and clear. We had no material audit adjustments, which is fantastic. There were a couple of past adjustments, so some adjustments that weren't recorded in the financial statements as they were immaterial. The IMRF actuarial variance that you've had in the past, that pretty much all the districts have had in the past, just the difference between IMRF and their audit versus their numbers that are audited versus the numbers that are used in their actuarial valuation that are come out before the audit. So as with any audit, there's some differences in those two numbers. So it causes a little bit of a variance for the district and all IMRF members. And we just had a minor capital asset correction. There were no disagreements with management, no consultation with other auditors. As I mentioned, you have the management representation letter and really no issues in performing the audit. A couple of new accounting pronouncements coming down. Next year, there'll be a new standard about subscription-based IT arrangements. And then in a few years, we'll have kind of a tweak to how compensated absences are accounted for. We'll work with the district to implement both of those standards. I don't expect a tremendous impact related to them. Finally, on internal control matters, as I mentioned, we look at internal controls to determine the nature, timing, and extent of our audit procedures. We did have one repeat comment around material weakness over financial reporting. It's the district's business office main, their expertise is in the day-to-day accounting, the financial information, not necessarily with the year-end financial reporting and all the note disclosures and keeping up with the accounting standards applicable to them. As I mentioned, we do assist with that service with management oversight. So it is a comment that we've had in the past. But the other kind of comments for segregation of duties, the things that could be out there, the internal controls on the day-to-day reporting, there's nothing to report in that regard. The business office is not large, as you know, but they do a good job of checking each other's work and making sure that the monthly financial information, year-end financial information is presented accurately. I guess with that, I would just kind of open it up to any questions from the board related to either of those reports or anything else that will help with it.
You said, Joe, reading, you said 3.7.
Yes.
And it's all because of the construction project.
It's because of the debt that was taken to pay for the construction projects.
We only read.
Baker Tilly prepares that, and then ISB will come out with their final report on that during the school year, and then you have an opportunity to respond to it. But the change really, as Joe said, it's tied to our long-term debt, issuing the bonds for the referendum.
Should not really have any impact in much of anything. It's good to know.
Any questions for Joe? Once again, thank you for always giving us good news. Going to give us good news. Okay, so thank you for that.
Then the suggested motion is that the Board of Education accept the audit for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2022 as presented.
The motion, Ms. O'Connell and Mr. Sosa. Roll call, please.
Chavez,
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa. Hightower.
Aye.
Mora.
I.
Mason. Jackson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Lynn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Happy holidays. You too. Nice day.
I can just say as well.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to stay.
Hightower, I would like to, I should have read this during the truth and taxation hearing. So this is new that we are required to read, just as in the budget hearing, we're required to read the fund balances. So in September, in the budget hearing, we read the projected ending fund balances by fund. So if you allow me, for the record, so the projecting ending fund balances for the education fund, projected ending fund balance, $28,130,088. I'm gonna cheat just so that I read this correctly. The O&M, $5,808,269. Debt service, $3,630,097. Transportation fund, $2,217,076. IMRF, $1,056,953. Capital projects, $19,140,740. Working cash, $4,905,210. Port fund, $53,477, and life safety, $88,925.
That is as of when?
That's the projected ending balance for June 30, 2023. The
And you have to read this every board meeting?
not every board meeting at the hearings, the budget and the levy
Okay.
hearings.
Okay.
And if you don't have a levy hearing, then you read it during part of the levy adoption.
Okay.
The requirement is not clear whether it is the June 30 and with balances. So when we presented the budget in September, I read the estimated ending balances for June 30, 2023. So I'm staying with that number and I'm sharing that information again.
Thank you.
Okay,
And Madam Secretary, we have it on record, right? Yes. She is right. Thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Okay. Anything else? No.
Not at this time.
All right, this time. Moving right along. So we do that. We have public participation. Yeah, Ms. Medina, thank you so much for your patience. Thank you. All right, come on, have a seat if you'd like.
And it's fine.
Stand.
Hi, my name is Claudia Medina. I'm from the District 209 School Board in Proviso. And I just came to say congratulations because the progress that has been made by this board in this district has been remarkable. I've been watching all of the improvements that all of you have done in the way that you've been working. And I just have been doing a tour of different board meetings, just to see how they work. And I was lucky enough to run into Mr. Sosa just recently in an event. I just wanted to come by and say congratulations and great work that's happening in this district. Work with County Power. So that was it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Pat yourselves in the back. All right. All right. Moving right along. So we ask that the board approve the public for public participation, the written correspondence as presented. Mr. Chavez and Ms. Hall. Roll call, please.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Morrow. Aye. Mason.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that the Board of Education approve the minutes for the regular board meeting of November 14th, 2022. And of the closed session meeting of October 24th, 2022 as presented. Motion, Ms. O'Connell? Mr. Jackson? Roll call, please.
Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Morrow. Aye. Mason.
Okay.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. Any old business reports, Mr. Simpson? No old business. Is there more? No business?
No business.
Yes.
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 That the Board of Education approve the accounts and claims payable authorization as presented.
Okay, good motion. Ms. Mason, Ms. Moore, roll call please.
Hightower.
Aye.
Morrow. Aye. Mason.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
There were no questions this month.
No, okay, good.
And the monthly building rental report is included in your packet for your review, and this is for informational purposes only. And then I would like to remind the board that there may be, with the meeting being a little bit earlier, there may be obligations that have to be paid by the end of the month before the next board meeting. So we would run a second, just like we did in November, run a second check run to capture those items that we're obligated to pay. And then we would include those for board approval at the January board meeting.
Not an issue, not concerned.
No, but sometimes there's some of the bills, whether it's utilities
Yes.
or different things come up that we have to pay before then.
Thank you for keeping us on track. We appreciate that.
We're doing our best.
I
Thank
know
you.
you're, thanks. Anything else?
No more old business.
All good. Ms. Travis.
Oh, business.
You said this. Thank you, Ms. Travis. Any other business? Okay, I get a motion to go into closed session. After this morning, Ms. O'Connell. Roll call please.
Morrow.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We shouldn't be very long. You know, Thanks, good stuff. Consideration of new business, let's see, board. So Connie, you have any reports? Board reports.
Yeah, we had a regular case meeting November 16th. Now we're having another meeting, our December one, Wednesday night. So I've got minutes here, but I'll just pass them down, okay?
Okay.
All right. That's it from me. Absolutely.
It's Mason. No report. A report. Should ask. Or report. Okay. I would have to report before this, the minutes before your report back. Last week. Okay. Mr. Sosa. Reports. Small. Okay, so no reports from the board. We're going right into the superintendent. Thank you, Mr. President. Licensed personnel leave of absences. We ask that the Board of Education approve the licensed personnel leave requests as presented for Betty Tapia, Jennifer Buckowitz, Kevin Culbertson, and Carolyn Zielinski. Get a motion. So O'Connor, Ms. Moore, roll call please.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora. Aye. Mason. Aye. Motion carried.
We ask that the board accept the resignation letter of the following personnel: Desiree Ortiz, Riley, effective November 18th, 2022, cafeteria monitor. The motion. Ms. Moore, Ms. O'Connor, roll call please.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora. Aye. Mason. Aye. Jackson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that the board approve the educational support staff leave of absence requests as presented for Joanne Noggle, Jacqueline Smith, Marcella Ramirez, Tamika Sheridan, Elizabeth Morello. The motion. Mr. Jackson and Ms. O'Connor, roll call please.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora.
Aye.
Mason. Aye. Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We ask that the board employ the following personnel pending all employment paperwork: Deborah Mitchell, Whittier, administrative assistant. Motion. Ms. O'Connell, Ms. Moore, roll call please.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Motion carried.
So I'd like to introduce Ms. Lizette Flores. Lizette, can you wave to everybody? So Lizette's been on our team for quite a while. Lizette's been at Whittier. I've had the chance the last several years to work with Lizette in a variety of ways. One of which you were very kind to help out with summer school in the past. And whenever I needed anything, she's been there. And she was interested in the administrative assistant for the superintendent position. And that's why she's here tonight. Welcome. The suggested motion is that the board approve the reassignment of Ms. Lizette Flores from Whittier Administrative Assistant to Superintendent's Administrative Assistant effective December 12th, 2022. A motion. Okay, Ms. O'Connor, Ms. Moore, roll call please.
Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora. Aye. Mason. Aye. Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Congratulations. We ask that the board approve the fundraisers as presented: Sunnyside PTO, Smensel's fundraiser, Jefferson, Sunnyside, MacArthur PTO, the Pizza Hut. The roll call. The votes, I'm sorry. Ms. Moore, Ms. Mason.
Yes.
Roll call please.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora. Aye. Mason.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. As discussed in closed session, we ask that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to notify the parents of child A because of residency regulations that student A be disenrolled as of 12/21/22 from District 87, as was discussed in closed session. The motion. Joseph and Mr. Jackson. Roll call, please.
Maura,
Hi.
Mason. Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then I just had one item on my oral report to keep it brief. It's been a busy week, it's been a busy year, and I just wanted to reflect and thank all the members of the Board of Education. I know not everyone was able to be at the event, the Sunnyside MacArthur event, but you were there in spirit because it wouldn't have happened without you. So I wanted to thank everyone for the work that went into that and the team that is here. All I can say is that what a scissors. What a scissors. And if you, would you mind holding up your red and yellow, everyone, your red and yellow? So I want to really just give a big shout out to Mrs. Vince and Miss Daniel and Mrs. Travis, because they came up with a symbolic, nice, big ribbon.
Yes.
The red for MacArthur, the yellow for Sunnyside, and that is your sample of it, your portion of it, that was actually held across the stage. And Mr. Hightower made that cut, and it was such a nice photo that we had. The turnout of our speakers was so nice. To have, I know Mayor Tamburino didn't want to speak, but he was here from Hillside. We had the president of Berkeley, Mayor Lee, or President Lee, he was there. The mayor of Northlake, Jeffrey Sherwin, came by. Majority Leader Welch came by, the regional superintendent. And what a nice picture that is.
There's one, you're up in the air.
Yes.
Bill, no, you're supposed to hold the silver. You Bill now.
So I thought just very quickly, those of you who were there, if you want to say, Mr. Sosa.
It was amazing. It was amazing. I was able to attend with my wife and my son. And after the ceremony, we did a tour with Welcome Over. And my wife, my son, and myself, obviously, we were speechless. My son, who attended to Northlake Girls School and then Proviso PNSA, it's like, Dad, this looks like a college. And it's like rich people studies here. So just like you said, it's all the touches and it's beautiful, real nice. One of the things I personally really like are those little rooms that they have on each individual parts for like studying sessions, like 4 or 5 people only with that's amazing. That was the cherry on top of it. Like,
And Mr. Jackson made it. It was just after the picture, but Mr. Jackson did it. What did you think, Dennis?
I loved it. I loved it. He had the map. I was following him around. That was just amazing. I was everything from the locker room, from the locker room. I looked about the locker room. I was probably one of the. I probably ain't been in the locker room that good since college. Yeah. My college locker room probably looked that nice. But everything about it, I say, like people think it's a high school, people don't know what it is. What's going on over there? And I mean, Ty is so excited. He's like, I got to keep the map. My first week, so I know where I'm going. They'll give us enough time to get these classes. So he's ready to move to it. They have it. And then Mike ain't jealous because she didn't get it. And she couldn't take 2 weeks because she did basketball practice. So I had to hear from the speaker here one day to get her to yeah. Wonderful.
Thank you. Mrs. O'Connell, you and Dan Baker.
Well, I thought it was awesome. The job well done by everybody, really.
And I know, Mrs. Mora, you were traveling and you and I got on the phone. I know how busy you are. I know all of your support.
I'm gonna echo what Mr. Chavez said earlier when we saw the video, is that it just looks, exactly probably like everyone envisioned, and probably even better. While we were watching the video, I mean, it's probably not, because we're talking education here, not the best kind of example, but almost like in some of the areas, looks like a coffee shop where you do want to go and sit down in different areas. I spend a lot of time at the airport, so like airport seating for me, when I want to try and sit down and catch up, the seating really matters to try and, you know, get work done. And so all of the little things that I was seeing, I was like, it, you know, really supports all different ways of learning and all different like comfort levels. So I mean, it just looks absolutely wonderful. My kids are at North Lake, but I showed them pictures too, and they were just very jealous.
August, no.
Yeah. Oh,
This makes
they'll be in high school, but.
I'm speechless. I was telling someone, I would like to come back. You know, just to experience it. But I know moving forward, all of the work that everyone that has been involved and all of those that are going to get on board because of the seed that has been planted, and now they see the fruit of it all, they're gonna want to taste of it. So I'm looking forward to what not only the buildings will do for the educational aspect of our community, but also for the residencies and how people are going to just flock. You know, because we are showing, as you said before, how we value education. So.
Well, I had a private conversation with Speaker Welch, and he was saying the state of Illinois they're gonna take this opportunity to brag on Berkeley 87. So coming from Speaker of the House, we've done something special. And it couldn't have happened without the administration and people sitting around this table. Thanks everybody. Good job, it really was.
And I just want to close with, we had planned to do the ribbon cutting at the end of the foyer. I think I mentioned that to when people walk in by the cafeteria. I don't know if I mentioned this, Ms. Mora or Mr. Shabazz, we couldn't because people kept coming. They just kept coming. And I even said to Mrs. Vince, all right, there's a break. We'll do it. Because we even moved the band out. The band was close. But they just kept coming. And I don't even know where they were parking.
Dr. Craig opened up the back of Sunset. She opened it up. She knew real. About walking in that.
It was really amazing. Now, Jeremy said at one time there were over 1,000 people. His estimate. I could not, I had no idea that many people were. That was.
Throughout the day, and the Gilbane team and the Wool team both said it was incredible how many people showed up, how the community showed up for the event, and it was the best attended event that they have seen. And there's one of the gentlemen on the Gilbane team. This was his first open house, grand opening, so he didn't know what to expect. And he shared with Jeremy that just seeing the faces of the community, the people that are actually going to be in the building, made it all worth it.
I think, I reflect back on when we first started these conversations. We were very tough on our administration. We challenged our administration to come up with the best solution. At the end of the day, we wanted to look forward to the 21st century. What are we going to do to bring our children into the 21st century? And I look at this and I look at our, how we get them ready for the future. That's our goal here. That's our legacy. That's what we leave behind for them, when we eventually decide to move on. But, we can only reflect on the fact that it's an amazing legacy that we're leaving here.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
What, we were trying to guesstimate, how old is the old building?
1949.
Which one?
Both.
No, I think what was 53.
The old gym was 53.
I think 29 is the original.
No. What is the original? Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Started out like the one.
Right.
They added on the other side.
So it was additions.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was kind of like built on over the years.
I wanna say the oldest section is like in 66 years old.
At least.
Yeah, yeah. That was one of the things we reviewed when we were looking at. Cause I remember North Lake and. With Riley, well, Whittier's new, but North Lake Riley, I think they were like in the 60s and 70s, right? And I think what we're looking at, you know, what's in that, because Burnsville was Jefferson, I mean, that's 1908, 1910. So, I think it's a good way forward, you know, we're gradually rotating around our schools. And Whittier, yeah, so Whittier and Jefferson were two to go. I don't know how old Whittier was originally. It was up there too.
Okay, once again, job well done. So let's move on because I didn't lay it for feet. Okay. Okay, so. There's some,
Yes, I just have one thing for my oral report, and that's gonna be Dr. Magnan's gonna share our panorama SEL data from last month. So we're gonna share that data real quick.
Come on up here.
young lady, thank you for showing bills.
And my apologies, last month I had been in the recording, but I was home with a very sick little girl, so. All right, this month though, we are gonna look at our fall data, which is our panorama, and this is our focus on social emotional learning. We do this 3 times here. Joe's getting them. This up here, so. Just a reminder that this is, I already said 3 times a year, but the areas that we look at are emotional regulation, self-management, social awareness, growth mindset, sense of belonging, teacher-student relationships. The one thing I did want to note is that we did change our K-2 survey this year. We actually created our own to mirror the same questions that our 3-8 survey looked like. In the past, it had only been 4 questions. Now it is much more robust, but it is still completed by the teachers of our K-2 students. When you're looking at these slides, you'll notice that there are 2 images up there. The one on the top left is our fall of last year. The one on the bottom right would be our fall of this year. So I'll go through each of them and just kind of talk a little bit about the growth. The first thing you'll notice is that blue line. That number, the percentage next to it is percent favorable. Then you'll see right to the right of that is where you have the percentile ranges. This is where we are compared nationally. And then all the way over to the right would be our increase or decrease and student response from the last time we administered the survey in the fall. So this one at the bottom right would be the one that we did just this fall. So as you compare it to last fall, you see that we have an increase in all 3 areas of percent favorable. So 50, 52, and 83%. And on that left-hand side, it tells you which grade levels that's representing. The things that we also want us to make sure, I don't know, Joe, if you can remove where it says your screen sharing at all, or if it doesn't allow you to move that. All right, perfect. But I really wanted to note that national comparison. I think we were really concerned, obviously last year we were returning from the pandemic, trying to get back to a normal year. We had a lot of conversations about SEL. I think this goes to show 2 things as we look at this national comparison is that we are in Berkeley, I feel like doing a pretty decent job of making sure students are returning back to normal. We see that percent favorable there. But also that even compared nationally, we're responding pretty high. And I love whenever we see it above that 50th percentile, we want to be on that right-hand side, which be all the way to the 80th to 99th percentile is pretty amazing. So this would be emotional regulation, which was a huge area of focus for us, if you recall from last year. Self-management, I know this was something, especially in that K-2 that we were working on. We see a little bit of an increase in our grades 6 through 12, a little bit of a drop in our 3 through 5 students, but we see a major increase in the teachers and staff of our K through 2 survey. So the percent favorable has risen greatly. Again, this was a focus area on those K through 2 buildings, which might be why we see that reflected. We also see that increase in the K through, or the 6 through 12 on that percentile range of how we are nationally compared as well. I think self-management has been an area we're going to continue to focus on. I see a lot of those self-management skills being taught as we enter these new buildings, and the foundations teams have been working on that. Social awareness, I feel like this was the one we saw the least amount of movement in, especially in our 3 through 12 or 3 through 8 grades. I know it's a 6 through 12 in there. And again, a little bit of that jump in the social awareness from our K through 2 scholars. And making sure to keep this brief too. I don't want to be able to assess it's too late. Good growth mindset. Again, this would be an area overall that we've had a lot of discussions about, and just being able to see how our own feelings and what we think about ourselves can in fact really influence how we think about school. So increases in both of these areas, and another one where we see ourselves in that grades 3 through 5, all the way up to that 99th percentile. So we're seeing a lot of green, a lot of right shifting. A lot of those arrows are going in the right direction, which I think goes to to our scholars being back at school, and then also our focus on those SEL lessons. And our final one here was the sense of belonging. I know that last year, especially at our middle schools, we were talking about bringing back some of those things that really made our scholars want to be in the buildings and be excited about that. I'm excited most of all to see where this goes after we open our new buildings and see if that sense of belonging even increases more from here. I know I feel that every time I walk into those buildings, so I can only imagine how it will be represented by our students.
How are you gonna track that?
Hopefully through this data. And we'll be doing a winter administration of it, so they'll be back in the new buildings by then, and we'll also do one in the spring, so we'll be able to track if that continues to increase as well. But I think we've returned, we're trying to return to a lot of those activities, but we haven't seen in a while. We've got our 100-book challenge where we're celebrating our students reading. We've got activities going back in our buildings again. I think that personally, I mean, I'm speaking from my own research and being a building principal here, but it changes the way students feel about school. And I think that is going to be indicative, reflected in the data as well. And then our teacher-student relationships, again, this would be an area where there wasn't, there's not really any increase from fall to fall, but we were already pretty high on the relationships. So I think we're just going to continue to monitor how we can keep those relationships strong. And we see that even more so at that middle school level. Again, I think some of the student choice that we've been trying to put in hopefully will help rise that as well. Our K through 2 survey, which I said earlier, was administered a little differently. So as you can see up there, we have the change since winter 2022, and you don't have that on the bottom. That's because of the question changes. So I'm wondering now, once we do this again during our winter administration of it, if we'll be able to see that, or if because we've created the questions, I don't know if that's not going to be there. So I will figure that out in this next time around. But emotion regulation, social awareness, and self-management saw an increase of percent favorable. Remember, this one is done by the teachers, which I think also speaks to the relationships that we're seeing among the teachers in the K through 2 buildings with the students. Overall, these are just our district-wide celebrations and growth opportunities. I know that you see these, and we'll on the next 2 slides are the individual ones within the buildings. You see these within the SIP plan, so it's nothing new, but I just like to capture all of it. Basic in a nutshell, we're turning in the right direction. And I think that's really to be celebrated with the teachers and the relationships they're focusing on having our kids back. And then some of our growth opportunities I've already spoken through as we went through the slides. So Joe, you can kind of just wrap up these next 2. You can look at them specifically for the buildings individually if you would like to. But there's, like I said earlier, this is nothing new than what you see in the SIP plans. And I did want to, on this last slide, take one just moment of focus to one of the new, sorry, next one. One of the new programs we're about to launch here in our middle schools, which is the Social Institute. I know you've heard a little bit of discussion around this, but we're really excited to put this into our 6th through 8 buildings. It also goes all the way down to 4th grade, so we have potential in the future. But the focus on this and why it makes it so different than what we already have in place is that it really brings in that social media aspect, which is what we see most influential in our 6th through 8 buildings. So we'll see how the students respond, but I know I've done some of the lessons myself and gone through them. And having been a principal in a building and seeing some of those challenges we had firsthand, I'm hoping this helps provide a little bit more context for students. I think a lot of the time what happens is they don't even understand the repercussions of their actions. So this is going to draw that attention to, did you know if you do this, how this has been handled in the past, or they even bring up some actual court cases of students who have ended up in these situations. And I don't think that our students really think of things in these large capacities or how they can impact on a much larger scale. So I'm very excited to see that launched by the end of January in those schools. So that would be all wrapped up, and then we'll continue getting that data and moving forward from here.
Thank you. Good of you. Thank you. And this fits right into our strategic plan, which is inclusive learning environment, which is going to. Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Vance.
Yes, I am. Back up. The summary of budget, statement of position, and the student activity reports for the period ending November 30, 2022 are provided for your review. The next item, we had the truth and taxation hearing at the start of the meeting. And this is the opportunity for the board to take action on that. So the suggested motion is that the Board of Education adopt the 2022 tax levy resolutions as presented.
Motion, Ms. O'Connell, Ms. Jackson, roll call please.
Sosa,
Aye.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora. Aye. Mason.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then the annual financial report. Joe Lightcap from Baker Tilly did a great job reviewing everything with the board. And this is just an opportunity if there were any additional questions.
Questions?
No questions. And then the next item is the change orders that were reviewed during the facilities committee meeting are presented for your approval. The suggested motion is that the Board of Education approve change orders 121 through 128 as presented.
Motion, Ms. O'Connell, Mrs. Sosa, roll call please.
Hightower.
Aye.
Mora.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
O'Connell.
Aye.
Sosa.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then on my oral report, so this fall, we finalized the bond refunding and there was money put into escrow for the payment of those bonds. And we actually got a refund check for excess escrow funds in approximately $20,000. So we're required to put that into the debt service fund. What I would like to do is bring a resolution back next month. I'll work with Chapman and Cutler to prepare that and allow us the opportunity to transfer those funds to capital projects and then put it towards the projects. And one of the criteria is that we have to expend it by June 1st of 2023, which we have a lot of Gilbane's invoices that will come between now and June 1st. So I don't think we'll have a problem spending an additional $20,000. So I just wanted to share that with the board, and then that resolution will come back in January. The skip renewal, I've been providing updates, and we had our annual renewal meeting earlier this month. And the renewals are banded based on experience, so our property liability increase was approximately 5.5%. And the cyber renewal was just under 27%. So it is much better than the 40 or 50% kind of industry-wide. And as I shared last month, the skip pool is doing a lot of work to try and make and keep the skip pool marketable and insurable for cyber insurance. So the cyber toolkit, which Mr. Byrne and I have been working together on, and there'll be different processes that Mr. Byrne will work with that team. And then they also have consultative minutes included in that. So that is one of the tools or resources that the skip pool will be utilizing to make sure that we continue to be insurable in the future. And the EBC for our employee benefits, that pre-renewal is in January. I will attend that meeting and then provide an update to the board from that preliminary meeting. The Berkeley TIF update, the joint review board meeting normally is held in December, and that is being rescheduled to January. So when they schedule that, I will attend that and then provide an update to the board. And then I spoke with Vanguard regarding our NICOR gas or our gas. So for the new building, we now have an account. We got our first invoice, and we account number, we added it, we tried to add it to the pre-purchased program. It has to go one billing cycle before it can go in the pool, and for the pre-purchased gas that we reserve. So if we do that, the one cycle, and it's pending for this, then we're exposed to, if we have those degree days, we're exposed to market rates, which could be $5-6 a therm, who knows? So instead of doing that, we will keep the new building on NICOR's rates instead of one of these transportation accounts. That's what they call it, because it's not NICOR product. So we will keep it with NICOR until the spring, and then switch it and put it on the pre-purchase program that we have. It's less risk, and we would be treated like any other NICOR account. And then electric, we will need to extend our rate lock for electric beyond June 30, 2023. I previously talked to the board and got consensus that when Vanguard calls us with the rate, when the rates are in a good spot, that we would lock it in. So I'm still working with them to find that sweet spot to lock in and extend for another year. Okay. And then we did get a notice. You may recall we participate in the NRG Energy Reduction Program, that when they have a critical day and we shut down and reduce our energy usage, we get a check. So we do have checks on their way for the 5 accounts, and it looks to be over $7,000. So once we get the actual checks, I will let the board know. But that is, good payback for a program that Mr. White and his team takes their effort to shut everything down so we can participate in it. Of course, we can't shut anything down on a school day when kids are in the schools, but when it happens on other days, we're able to meet that requirement. And then the last item that I added, we received a change order for the abatement at North Lake. We received that today, so it was too late to have it on a board meeting. The dollar amount is under the threshold, so it is for work that will be done over winter break. We are replacing casework that had water damage from that flood in last summer at North Lake. Originally, we weren't going to replace those base cabinets in the art room. Because of that, we have to replace them, and there's tile underneath that, so that abatement will be completed over winter break. So with the board's consensus, we'll sign off on that, and then we'll bring it back as an agenda item in January to ratify it. It is a little over $5,000, so it's well below the threshold that the board gave us permission to approve change orders. But since we got it today, I at least wanted to share that with you. So, consensus from the board?
Get a consensus?
Yes.
Very good. And that is the end of my report, unless there are any questions.
Good, thanks. Thank you. Everybody smile. Okay,
Always. Always.
Ms. Travis. You're up.
All right, I'll be real brief. Vacancies, our vacancies still remain consistent. So very consistent to last month, 19 certified staff and 16 support staff. Some of the support staff is with the new positions. Mr. White and I were interviewing. We've had some administrative assistants change roles, so we're interviewing for those. And tonight we hired one, and you see Miss Flores has switched over. But good news is, we have had 4 like recent December graduates reach out to us. So that's a good thing. I'm interviewing someone tomorrow. And then we have 2, I haven't really shared this, bilingual candidates who have reached out to me. And so that's wonderful. Check their licensure. And so I have shared their information with the principals. So hopefully we'll be interviewing them as well. So that's good news that we have had 4 December graduates reach out to us. And then last but not least, we're gearing up for the 2023 career fairs. Start going to those in January for the universities, and the principals, assistant principals will join.
Will that be the grant?
Yes.
Question for you, when you go to the career fairs, do you use any media?
No, we have not. We, share our website with them, but we don't use our.
Does anybody use any media?
Not really. Usually what they're doing, because it's a lot of us and not that many candidates anymore. They will have them like put their information in the computer, but no, it's really more personable, when you're there. But that's still not bad. They may tweet, a lot of people are on Twitter. And so they may tweet. So that's one thing we've been talking about is, getting our information out on Twitter.
You should take that drone video.
Yes, I will.
And sell that. I mean, we have a tremendous opportunity here to sell our district.
I will say, Mr. Travis, Mr. Grachowski, and Dr. Modi told me that I need to bring pictures of the new building next time. And so I did write that down, that we do need, pictures and, like you said, that video I should make something they can see, because they're excited to hear about what we're doing. And one thing we've been doing, so tomorrow, I'm gonna go over to the new building and interview the new candidate, because he's Burbank art, so.
I wonder if they could help us with some type of little,
I can ask.
a very quick, 30-second video or something like that.
Yeah.
Just to hit on those nice highlights of our district and, with the video, with that would be an awesome selling thing.
That's a great idea. I'll ask.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. Rowland, Stacy, I have a question for you. She said,
When you're on those sites, do you have enough space to have a small screen where, like you said, a 30-second video could just get looped behind you so that it can draw?
Yeah, we possibly could, put a screen, we'll have to purchase it and put it.
Isn't that a technology issue?
You just would find.
can you put something together for a presentation? For us to go out and sell to the population at large?
Yeah, we've done some things in the past with like banners that we put together and some images and stuff like that. But I think the new building, is an opportunity to further market the district, and like you said, the drone video and things like that. You know, like Mr. Travis said, each career fair opportunity might look a little different.
Absolutely.
But I think, like you said, you know, even having a computer with something going could help us talk.
I've been to trade shows and, you know, I'll see vendors out there, they'll have their laptop, they'll have, you know, they'll be showcasing. Yeah.
Is that a workload we can put on you, Mr. Clark?
Of course not.
That's a question. I need to get the superintendent of pool, just put out, put you on the record.
It's a welcome exit.
I wonder if another opportunity would be like a signature banner, especially if you're having a lot of email exchanges, if you had some sort of link in your signature that like the people that you're exchanging emails with could just click on and go look at it too, for like the non-personal communications you're having.
Absolutely. Right, I guess.
Anything else, Mr.
Oh, no, complete.
Let's shoot over to Mr. White.
Focus is getting open, coming up, this started at the end of this week, so that's where most of the time is working out all the perks that come with the building. But in addition to that, we'll also be starting asbestos removal in the apartment complex over by North Lake. So that will start over winter break, and then we'll begin working with Wold coming out with a big package for demolition.
So we started demolition during spring break?
No, we're gonna do this first. Yeah, I have to talk with Wold.
Okay.
Because you gotta figure timeline, so I don't know how it'll take. Then we'll plan about that long, but then it's gotta go out to bid.
Yep.
And then. We have to see like when the best time to get the most available bidders.
How are we doing with your hiring opportunities for the janitor?
Well, we haven't had that many applicants, so. Most of the push is, we were working on the supervisor and getting into that building. Once this big move is done, that shift will focus on. So.
Okay. All right. Keep pushing it forward. You're gonna need to help. Okay, anything else? No? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
We gave you an assignment, so. We will assign that to you, so go for it.
Yeah, well, so to mirror what Dale said, the main priority is the transition from the old MacArthur County site to the new. Some of the layers of technology, you gotta have the infrastructure and everything in place. So now it's go time for some of the things that really need to be up and running for the first day of school. So there's some network items, I won't list all of them, but a lot to do specifically teachers and students lead. So we have about 5 work days to really get some things up and running in the new buildings and the transition over.
You man for the job.
I'm sorry.
You man for the job, so they can take care of it.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, you got anything for us today? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for those ideas, because the vacancies have quite the impact on special education, so.
Absolutely.
I can maybe take that as a job. I'll recruit some more special education staff. Yeah, just like Joe and Dale said, getting our staff to our new building and getting acclimated. For special education, it's a different way of delivering services, so it's just a new kind of reality for all of us, and getting used to a common space for all the specialists to be in one area where before might have been trying to find places for some of our practitioners to meet with students. Everyone who was saying how excited they were about those breakout rooms. That's a big shift for us, and so we're very excited about that. But it is a different shift in how we work with our students, and students are not probably going to be coming to the practitioners. Practitioners are going to be going to the students. So there's just a lot of different pieces for us to make sure we kind of have in place, different structures, expectations for students. And kind of working together on those pieces, but it is exciting, it's just kind of a new kind of reality. It's just different for our practitioners to think in those ways, but yeah, I think it's just amazing opportunities for the children to be this much more included, because they can do some of the things that they need to target with their learning in those pods. So we're very excited about that. It's a great opportunity for help. Yeah, just making sure that our nurses also have, what they need to safely finish school to the 21st, and also be ready on January 4th with what they need. They can help with making sure they have what they need. And we were actually very fortunate to work with our first responders in the area to walk through the building. We wanted to make sure they knew where our special education classrooms were located. They had special locations in the building in the front of the pods, so we wanted our first responders to know where students with disabilities would be located in those pods. So that was a nice opportunity for them to see that. I'll be honest, the West Suburban response team, they've never seen anything like this in this area. And this team comes all the way from like Rose, it's a very large Western municipalities where it comes together for that team, and they almost were as well as the students. But I'm glad we had that opportunity. Yeah, for them. Very nice one, and very appreciative of their support. So they know where things that are vulnerable might be. Yeah, they have to think a little differently. We're very. I said, there's not a school like this now. We don't.
Well, we all.
21st century.
This is just
That's what we want.
Agree.
21st century.
Well, all I can say is job well done to everybody. We could not have done it without this team. And we spent a lot of time planning. So thanks everybody, really. And having a conversation with your father, he was fantastic. He was saying a lot of good ideas.
You've been through this.
You've been through it. So thank the board. We really appreciate you guys and administration as well. So what's left here? Let's see. Our next meeting. Next year, January 23rd. Well, before we join, I want to wish everybody happy holidays. Thanks everybody, and we got to another year together. And, let's get into the ground running. 2023. All right. Get a motion to adjourn. This amazing. Roll call, please.
Jackson. Chavez. O'Connell. Sosa.
Hi.
Hightower.
Hi.
Mora. Mason. Motion carried.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
President.